Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. As part of some helpful guides that I've been working on, I wanted to go over my thoughts about the current balance of the survival system. What I like about it and what I feel it brings to the game, what I might dislike about it, and what I feel can take away. Let's begin. Star Citizen has ballooned since 2013 into something that some feel isn't really recognizable as the original pitch. That may be irrelevant, however, the consensus is that you could change the name and resell it, and perhaps no one would even be the wiser. But that isn't bad, as most of the new additions are much better than what was originally shown. It's always been labeled as a space sim, and some took that as the hardcore sim, like Rust, DCS, or Hellion, and others may have considered The Sims a light and casual time waster. So it's likely going to be impossible for CIG to please everyone because there are varying expectations. When Chris Roberts was asked years ago on 10 for the Chairman about food or drink, he replied that it would be added for role players and perhaps only offer a slight buff to your character. He pretty clearly said that this would never kill you. More recently, we found out that the new player-actor system could actually kill you in an extreme situation if you ignored your thirst and hunger. Cold and heat will kill you, bullets, broken bones, suffocation, and it seems like we might spend a major chunk of our gameplay just trying to live. Which is fine. During 3.8, it was originally announced on Inside Star Citizen that you may die within a couple hours. When I heard that, I was curious about the reaction, and not surprisingly, there was some salt on social media. The Evocati seems to have done exactly what it's supposed to, and I was happy to see that what we got in PTU and Live was much more forgiving. Pack up a burrito in your gear, next to your Medipen, some ammo and some water, and you'll be fine. Some discussion occurred this week during the Saturday meeting for Enemy Contact. Here are the general notes. Some org members really like the hardcore survival games, but they don't necessarily want to see it added to that level to Star Citizen. Star Citizen's already planned to be very feature-rich, and it's already shaping up to be quite complex. Most members like the addition of having to eat or drink once or twice per day. Most also agree that if your character's working very hard or is very far away from a ship for an extended period of time, like being dismounted, walking around on the surface of a planet or moon, the rate of drop should increase, meaning you should run out sooner. Actually, everyone at the meeting agreed that the rate of hunger or thirst should be directly tied to what your character's doing and how effective your gear is at combating the elements. Not really a shock up to this point, but that's where we had a split in the discussion and why I want your comments in the comments. We did some testing and this is what we came up with. If you spawn your player and immediately have a snack, it'll take 6 to 7 hours before you're compromised by thirst and about 11 or 12 for hunger, assuming all you're doing is standing and breathing. You can cut that down to 1/3 of the time if you're jumping and running around wearing heavy armor, but as a note, I want to mention that you'll run out of oxygen and suffocate well before you're going to die of hunger. So, the gameplay now includes balancing your time. You need to refill your oxygen, you need to find a suitable place to remove your helmet to eat, blah 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 blah. There was further discussion. On one side, half of the org members said that hunger and thirst should wear down all the time, even when logged off, meaning that you may have to log in, eat, drink, suit up, and then set off. The other half believed that it should be an implied mechanic, and I can expand on that. They thought that food could somehow work like air does. If you're in proximity to civilization or a ship with a galley, your hunger and thirst would be topped out and maintained. I was really impressed with how passionate the discussion was because I haven't really given it much thought myself. Let's break it down into some scenarios because this is how we discussed it, and it was the easiest way to explore how it could work. Scenario 1 is simple, the classic stranded player. You're walking on the surface of Yela with 1 water and a burrito stored, someone blows up your ship, leaving you stranded, and you have about 10 minutes before you die of hunger. In this case, you're going to need to call for a pickup or die because you can't take off your helmet to eat. Second scenario is quite similar, but your ship wasn't destroyed. You return to your ship with that same 10 minutes, close the door, take off your helmet, eat and drink, replace your helmet, and then you can carry on outside. As you digest, your hunger bar slowly restores, allowing you to continue with what you're doing. Scenario 3 played out like this. You're the pilot of a Saber and you know that you have about 5 minutes before you come out of Quantum. Your hunger is going to become a problem soon. You take off your helmet, quickly eat, quickly drink, and then replace your helmet. Everyone was in 100% agreement up to this point. Scenario 4, split the org. You're the navigator on a Polaris. You never wear a flight suit, and you've never left the ship in a month. As you go about your day, because you're on the ship that's stocked up, your hunger and thirst will never drop, similar to how oxygen works. The idea was that if you're on a ship or walking around a location that supports life, you shouldn't have to worry about it. When the ship lands for service, it can restock on fuel, get repaired, and also restock food that would deplete over time, another consumable. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from eating for roleplay or whatever, But in these situations where you're protected, the system would basically pause. If that same player went outside, either EVA or on foot to explore, the player-actor system would activate again and would perform its intended goal, making you consider your task and plan to work the anticipated problem. I'll close out with a question, and I don't even yet have an answer to it. This is literally hypothetical, just to get your feedback. If you're a captain on a javelin and you log out for the night, do you feel that your hunger should run down, making it a requirement to get up, go to the kitchen, eat and drink before you make your rounds? Should the system be nothing more than a buff-debuff, similar to what Chris said? Or is it fine to die on the bridge of your fancy ship due to hunger? I'm aware that these are extreme and specific scenarios, but they were chosen to get your opinion. Please post your thoughts about this, or even other ways that you may like this to be implemented, as we know that there is a level 2 and level 3 mechanic planned for this later. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Stay tuned for more. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.